Hey everyone, hope you're doing well out there today. This is Nick coming back at you with another video. I've been trying to make this video for a while, but it's a sensitive subject. So put on your big boy pants for this one. I'm just going to jump right into it. My grandma the other day was telling me about her sister, and 3 out of 4 of her grandchildren are gay or transgender. They're all transgender. And back in the day, we really didn't see this much gender dysphoria or whatever you want to call it. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I have a lot of friends who are gay and transgender. And this is definitely not an anti LGBT video, but it's just kind of an assessment and an update of information for everybody. There is a doctor from UC Berkeley in California called Dr. Tyrone Hayes. His research was famously popularized and negated by the caricature of Alex J. He got banned from the internet. Alex J. I don't want to use his full name in case I get flagged. And he's famous for saying, "Oh, they're turning the frogs gay," which is a funny meme, of course, but it's also based on the very real endocrine disruption of different latent pesticides and residual endocrine disruptors, hormonal disruptors, that have led to an increase in gender dysphoria, childhood autism, different types of stomach cancers, celiac disease, different types of digestive disease. We're going to move pretty quickly here today. If you have any questions, shoot me some comments or email me at safananda.org. You can find my email address on my website. Check out my YouTube at Safananda if you're interested, and I also have articles on Medium. So in Dr. Tyrone Hayes' research from UC Berkeley, he was mapping the biological effects using the indicator species, what's called the indicator species from ecology, of amphibians. And they have a very delicate reproductive system, and so that's why they're called an indicator species. We can identify the level of health of an ecosystem by studying the health of amphibians. And so in very small amounts, Dr. Tyrone Hayes of UC Berkeley found that pesticides like Monsanto Roundup, big surprise, atrazine, and other types of endocrine disruptors that attack the hormones of the insects, insecticide, fungicide, all this type of thing, in low concentrations in the water of the amphibian's terrarium or what have you, it would actually turn the male frogs gay, and it would actually feminize the male frogs, and in some cases turn them into females. They would act like females. They would desire male frogs like females. So this is happening on a biological level. Just a little background for everybody. In the Native American tradition, they have this idea that, being gay or gay people or bisexual people are very common, but they were never seen in the level or in the numbers that they're being seen today because of the industrial petrochemical infiltration, pollution in our food and our water, like Monsanto, Bayer, various other Western companies. And because of these residual pesticides, and among other things like touching plastics, especially when the child is in the womb, a lot of these people will say that they identify as gay or transgender since birth. And the reason why is because a lot of these things are happening when they're being contaminated in the womb by what the mother is eating. So if she's eating a lot of foods from plastic, or if she's eating wheat products, grain products, vegetable products that have latent or residual pesticides. This is pretty much why we're seeing such a huge increase in this gender dysphoria, transgender, and of course, for many decades now, we have seen that people who are gay and transgender have a very, very much higher suicide rate. And of course, I'm from San Francisco, and a lot of my friends will say, oh, well, it's because people are not tolerating their lifestyles. But in the Native American tradition, and in most traditions around the world, people do not really care that much. And you can't really, at least in my opinion, we can't use that as a reasoning for the increased suicide rate. In my opinion, in my professional opinion, the increased rate of suicide is because of the psychological turmoil created. A lot of these people will say, oh, well, they feel like a woman but in a man's body. And in my yoga classes, we go over this a lot. And the effect of perception and our self-perception on our self-esteem and our whole outlook. And that has a really big impact on our happiness and our emotional destiny. And so getting back to the Native Americans, it's very well known that there are both men and women who might identify as the opposite sex. So there's all different kinds, of course. So there's a man who is attracted to women but dresses like a woman and lives like a woman, even does the tasks traditionally for women. And then on the female side, there are women who dress like a man but are attracted to men, and they hunt and they do all of the stuff that the men do, but they're attracted to the men. And vice versa, there are men who dress as females, who dress as women, they identify as women, but they are attracted to other men, and vice versa. There are women who dress as men and who are attracted to women. So this type of idea or dynamic in human sexuality, we also see it in the Eastern Indian tradition. It's been around for a long time. It's very natural. And you'll see a lot of the religions, of course, they have their take on it for certain reasons. But really, bisexuality in the human condition is very common. And what we're seeing now, because of the endocrine disruptors and the latent residual pesticides in our food and water, we're seeing stuff that is not common. Back in the day, in the Native American tradition, with these different types of sexualities that we just went over, we didn't see high levels of suicide. Something else is going on, and that's why I'm making this video today. So if we're thinking of having children and we want them to be healthy and happy and natural with a good brain and heart, we want to stay away from different types of endocrine disruptors like BPA, different types of plastics and plasticizers, soft plastics like nylon, polyester, all of this stuff. These are all these plastics are made from waste products from the petroleum industry. They just repackage it and rebrand it to us and sell it back to us, sell us their trash essentially. And not only that, it's actually destroying our hormonal balance and causing all of these suicides. And most people haven't, of course, the Western doctors do not put this together for everyone, so that's why, again, we're making this video today. So if you're a prospective mother or father and you want to have a healthy child with a good mind and heart, you're going to want to stay away from all of the products that you can get at the grocery store. Any type of packaged, plastic, prepackaged, processed food, any type of wheat or grain-based product. You can look up online. There's a lot of information about the different testings For instance, there was a study that determined 100% of Californian wines and beers produced in the United States are test positive for glyphosate, which is the key ingredient in Monsanto Roundup, of course. Thank you very much, Monsanto. And there was another study that was done. You can look this up for your guys' homework today. The most of the grain products in the United States, because of the reach of Monsanto and things like the Monsanto Protection Act, there's all kinds of this stuff. Because of that, most of the grain products in the United States are contaminated with glyphosate, with Roundup, and they found that a lot of these people who eat the regular bread, grains, beer, wine, they're literally pissing Roundup. They're urinating glyphosate Roundup, and that's because it's coursing through their entire body, and of course, it affects the sexual development of our children. So what we want to do instead is stop going to the grocery store. Don't buy any of the prepackaged plastic foods. If we have to have grain or beer or wine products, we only want to buy it imported from France or Italy, because of course in Europe, Monsanto Roundup is banned, and for some reason, we can get into that in another video maybe. In the United States, in the Americas, it's not banned, right? And Monsanto Bayer, I mean, there's a lot of, you can check out my other videos on the Consummate Observer on YouTube about the origins of Big Pharma and the amoral conduct of Big Pharma and Big Ag. Some interesting information there if you're interested. So yeah, just keep this information in mind. It's a bit of a doozy today, but I've been wanting to make this video, and it seems like people are kind of have a desire for this information now, and we're kind of looking around and wondering, why are things the way they are? And this is a big part of why they're that way. So I hope everyone found this video well, and if you could do me a favor and share it with everyone who you think might be affected. You know, my grandma is very concerned, of course, and so is her sister. And so yeah, that's why I made this video for everyone today. So hope everyone's doing well out there. Thank you.